Okay, this is a quick tutorial to show how to use the SAT/ACT PowerPrep. First you go to powerprep.eknowledge.com and you'll see this login. You use your email address that you used at the time of the purchase of the program, and you put that in, and then you put in your password that you created at the time that you activated the program. Then you just click sign in. That will bring you to a screen like this that shows all of the programs that you have in your account. You may only have one, you may have multiple. If you're a teacher, you could have 30 or 40 because you have the master account and all of your students have their own account. But in this case, shows that these two have already expired, and this is my only valid account right now, so I'm going to click on that, and it brings me to the login, or to the main home page. So on this page you can see which program it is. This is the SAT Premium. It gives your serial number, the user ID, the account, and also expiration date and days remaining in your account, and the build date and the content version. Down here is the tray icons, and this is where you'll spend most of your time. The most important of the icons is the virtual classroom. That's where the videos are, and that's where you'll probably spend 75–80% of your time. This icon is text resources. It's the same content that's in the video classroom, except it's in text format. This is fast track tips, and it again covers the same content in both the classroom, the virtual classroom, and the text resources, but it's in shorter, smaller segments, and it's mostly text and a little bit of multimedia. And then a vocabulary workshop, and then the testing center. These three icons here are general information only. This is some information about the SAT, or if you have the ACT program, it'll be about the ACT. This gives you an overview of how to use the program, and this is about SST, which is syllabus, schedule, and tracking. But where I want to focus on is just the general use of the program. So we'll start with the virtual classroom here. The table of contents is on the left hand side. There's general test taking, essay writing, English grammar, reading, sentence completion, and math. So under general test taking, you have this content, which gives you what you would expect: general information about test taking, information about relaxing, things you can expect during the test, etc. You can click and scroll through all the videos, and there's also a couple of text pieces of text content here. Essay writing, the exam has an essay. The essay is not graded. It's given to the school that you apply to, or the schools that you apply to, and they use it to whatever degree they wish, but the most important part begins right here: English grammar, reading, sentence completion, and math. So under English grammar, it covers the basics of what you would expect about English grammar. So let's look at subject-verb agreement, subject-pronoun agreement, and then it goes on and on that way. So we'll go back to, this is the main classroom, and you can see, as for example, as you scroll through math, we'll go arithmetic, and then we'll look at fractions. You can see the breadcrumb that's creating the path. You're at fractions, arithmetic, math, virtual classroom. If you want to backtrack, you can click back through the path that way, and it takes you back. So the classroom is mostly video, and it proceeds by, go to fractions again, teaching you content and then giving you practice questions. So in this example, there's video about these 4 pieces of content, and then there's 2 practice questions that reviews the content that you learned in these videos. Decimals and percents, the same way. There's 2 pieces of video and then a practice question, more video, another practice question. Let's take a look at, let's go to geometry, angles. So there's video content that teaches the angles, and then there's 2 practice questions that covers the same information. Now, so that repeats itself. The information in the classroom, this is the first level of the table of contents, and then you drill down. Well, that same table of contents, let's look at workbooks, math, geometry. So that same table of contents that we were looking at over here in the classroom under geometry, you can see the same information is covered again, but when you're in the text resources, it's done with text and images. So it covers a lot of the same information, learning it through text instead of video, and then it has sample questions that covers the information that was taught in these first 3 pieces of content. And then here's the sample questions that review that. Look at triangles, same thing. Triangles generally, area, Pythagorean theorem. And then sample questions that review all of the information in those prior pieces of content. And then let's look at fast track tips. Math, geometry, and you see the table of contents repeats. So we'll go to triangles, and in this time the information gets shorter. It's kind of like flashcards. It reviews the same information but in much less detail. So fast track tips are a good way of both reviewing what you've already learned and previewing to see if something doesn't look familiar. Then you'll know that that's something you need to focus on more, and you could then spend more time in the text resources, which are more detailed, and also in the video classroom. Alright, then after you've learned, let's go back to math, geometry, we're in the quiz section now. So you could use, there's 3 quizzes for each level. So arithmetic has 3 quizzes, algebra has 3 quizzes, geometry, trigonometry. Go back to the verbal reading comprehension has 3 quizzes, sentence completion has 3 quizzes, and improving sentences has 3 quizzes. So a real common way of using the testing center would be to take, for example, geometry quiz 1, take the quiz, find out, I'm going to go through this, I'm just going to select A for each one. Take a quiz, find out how you do, and then that will tell you where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then you can go back into the whatever level of help that you need. If it's something quick, you could look in fast track tips. If it's something more in detail that you didn't understand, you could look in the classroom, the video classroom, or the text resources. After you take a quiz, then you can click on the answers, and it gives you a detailed explanation why the right answer is right and the wrong answers are wrong. And there's detailed explanation for each one. Then, after you've studied a section of the content, you could come back to test number 2 and see if you've improved, and then that tells you where you still need to work. You go back into the classroom, back into the resources, back into the fast track, continue to study and improve, and then finally you can take your third quiz to see that your timing and comprehension is where you want it. So that's a quick overview of how to use the program. Like I said, these first 3 icons are general information. Where you'll spend most of your time is in the classroom, the text resources, and the fast track tips, and then in the quiz section. Now, if you have a standard program, you won't have the text resources or the fast track tips, but like I explained before, the table of contents for the classroom is the same table of contents that's in the text resources, that's in the fast track tips. So all of the information that you need is in the classroom, the video classroom, and it's in the greatest amount of detail. So you're not missing anything if you have the standard program. If you have the premium program, then you also have the resources for the text and the fast track tips, and that just gives you more ways of studying the same content. So if you have a standard program, you would use the classroom and the testing center in the same way. Take a quiz, find out where you're strong or weak, go back into the classroom, learn the things that you need, come back and take test 2, and you repeat that cycle until you've accomplished everything that you need. Alright, that should do it. Good luck.